I got to kick this thing off. Can I kick it off? 1, 2, 3, 4. Ladies and gentlemen, listen.
So before we get into this, I'm gonna go ahead and say trigger warning. If this is something that may, because we're talking about, sexual abuse and things of that nature. So before we get into this discussion, if you want to go ahead and skip this episode, we still love you. We'll catch you on the next episode. Conversate with Us Radio presents the Man Listen Show. We are the blackest radio show on the internet. We bring you our opinion on topics that affect the Black community in an effort to enlighten, enrich, and empower every brother and sister that falls under the sound of our voice. We operate on a no-hating frequency, so be prepared for us to keep it 100% real and 100% Black all the time. You can follow the show on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Man Listen Show. You can subscribe to the show on YouTube. Make sure you leave a comment, give us a thumbs up. You can also listen to us on our website, www.manlistenshow.com. You can check out all of our past episodes. You can buy merch. Go to our Instagram. You can get a link for the bio for our merch. We got t-shirts, we got hoodies, we got all that all goes to supporting the show. And you can also subscribe on iTunes and any other place that you listen to podcasts. Make sure you let everybody know about the blackest radio show on the internet, the Man Listen Show. I'm your host, Marv B. Let's bring the crew in. All right, y'all, we down one soldier. Shout out to C. But here in the news, man, it's a sad situation. In the news, we've talked about comedians in the past, right? We had some comedians on the show. We talked about, creative license and all that stuff or whatever. But here recently, Tiffany Haddish and Aries Spears have been sued. They've been sued by two young people, brother and sister, young woman 22, young man 15. They're going by Jane and John Doe to protect their anonymity, right? Because this deals with allegations of grooming and sexual molestation. So the two comedians, it's a civil lawsuit, and basically they are being sued for creating intense, lingering, emotional, and psychological distress because they had these two children performing two skits back 7 years ago. So the young boy was 7 years old and the young girl was 14. They are also going after Tiffany Haddish for negligent supervision. So apparently Tiffany was friends with the mother of these two children, and she coerced them or had them participate in this particular skit. When I first saw this on social media, the accusations against Tiffany and Aries, I was like, dang, it seems like not a lot of people are talking about this. And it still doesn't seem like, it's like really major news. I think people have kind of, there's been a few comments about it, but it just hasn't just been like out in the news like I think it should be. So I was researching, and I don't endorse or encourage anybody to go and look at the video. There's nothing graphic on the video, but it's very disturbing. I was on Facebook and I did a search for Tiffany Haddish, and somebody posted the video with the young boy, and it shows Aries and Tiffany with the boy, and it's called like Through the Eyes of a Pedophile. So it shows, the child and, in his underwear and, doing different things. And Aries, it's not much, like I said, there's nothing graphic. Aries does like rub like, baby oil on the boy's shoulders or whatever. But just the whole thing, it just seems unseemly. I like fast forwarded through it. I just wish I never saw it. I wish I never saw it because to me, it was disturbing. I like to take pride in saying, I never saw the video with R. Kelly and the young woman the young girl that he molested. Well, I don't have to say allegedly anymore because he was convicted of it. But yeah, I actually saw this and it was disturbing. So when you guys first heard about this in the news, what was your initial thoughts? Did you see the video, or did you do the smart thing and stay away from it like I should have?
I did not watch the video. the first thing when I heard about it or when I read about it, I was like, what? And I'll be honest with you, after I read the full story, then I was like, okay, because the charges that it seemed, I was like, wow, it just seemed like the grooming part and all that. I don't know. I thought that there was going to be an actual act where they were actually almost like running a ring or something with the kids. That's what I thought initially. Then I read the charges and not to absolve them of any responsibility. It just sounds like a skit gone wrong, a badly conceived skit that went wrong.
I don't know, but I think that's very hard to do because there are writers, there are comedians, there are producers, there are directors, there are like so many hands in the pot before these things like really come to fruition. So for something to be this outrageous and no one to say anything, that just seems ridiculous to me. I think that my biggest issue, I didn't watch the video. We know I try to stay away from triggering things like that, but yeah, I was just thinking that um as opposed to watching the video, I read the description of what happened in the video, and that was bad enough. Just read, I was like, when you said rubbing baby oil and the acts that they had the little boy committing and things like that, like I stopped reading after that. I was like, this is ridiculous, and there's no way that that should have been allowed. The other thing that made me mad was while they're using Jane Doe and John Doe to protect the children, they're allowing Tiffany Haddish's attorney to drag their mother through the mud like nobody knows who their mother is. That completely destroys their anonymity. What's the purpose of naming them Jane and John Doe in the lawsuit if you're going to allow them to be publicly smeared or outed, by counsel? To me, that's unethical and that should be addressed as well. But you know, Hollywood is a different world.
Yeah, they call it Hollywood for a reason, right? They call it Hollywood for a reason. So Tiffany, she spoke out. I saw her comment on Twitter. She said obviously the skit wasn't funny. There's not much she could say about it because there's a pending lawsuit, right? And Aries Spears came out and I saw a video. He spoke about it and he called it extortion and a shakedown. And obviously he said he couldn't talk more about it because the lawsuit is pending. I think he probably should have just kept his mouth shut instead of calling it extortion and a shakedown, because like at the end of the day, the video is out there. It's on social media. I know we talked about comedians and like, okay, where do you stop? How do you you can't just censor comedians because that's what they do. This just wasn't, this was beyond the pale for me. And I agree with you, Erika. Like, I don't see like one person said like, nah, this ain't a good idea. I've been a young man, and if you know anything about young men, we do stupid stuff and we come up with harebrained schemes. I remember me and a group of our guys, we came up with a get rich quick scheme, and I just leave it at that, right? And thank God somebody came in on the discussion, right? Because we had planned it out and everything. And basically what we was plotting was to go do some fair time. And somebody said, what are y'all thinking? That's stupid. And we was like, oh, damn, yeah, you're right. I can't believe nobody did that when this was happening. And honestly, they only showed the video of the young boy. But when I read the description of the video with the young girl, that would have been even more traumatizing. Thankfully, that's not on the net, or at least I haven't seen it. So I don't know, man. Why do you think this isn't getting more press? Why do you think this isn't more people, more outrage?
Sexual assault still has that little taboo where people are like divided down the middle, where you're either 100% this is wrong, these people are, doing this, they're boycotting R. Kelly and all his music, and other people, well, the music is still good or the comedian is still good. And it's like, this is such a polarizing type of topic that it's crazy that people who seem rational in every other instance of life can really fall on the wrong side of this, because it's very easy to just not say anything. Like, why speak out negatively against the mother, the children? Like you said, if Aries Spears could have just kept quiet, like, why are you speaking out negatively against the mother, the children, anything, when you can just say nothing? Or people who are speaking out in support of, the comedians. It's amazing to me that people really just can get it so wrong and really have just no comprehension of just kind of like not supporting rape culture just by being, supportive of the people who may or may not be perpetuating that culture. And so when you realize the role that you're playing in it and then try to do something about that, then things will change. But most people, they see it as like this isolating thing where it's like, well, not my idol, my person that I like wouldn't do something like this, so I'm going to support them, I'm going to believe in them, as opposed to believing in these 30 eyewitnesses, like in Cosby's case or whoever, and then it's just like, I don't know, people are so enamored by these people that they've built up, celebrities that they built up in their minds, that they just refuse to believe the bad that these people may or may not be capable of.
I don't even think Tiffany and Aries are that well liked, though. I know Aries.
Tiffany definitely is.
Maybe
not. I'm talking about in Hollywood. Obviously,
fan base.
Okay,
by the amount of work that she gets, it's obvious.
Okay, so let me say this. I think that you're right. She's a Hollywood darling, right? I think there are a few people who are. So you know how like I'm a big fan of. Let me say it differently. So y'all know how I support Monique in her causes.
Right.
Because I had to clarify, because I'm not the biggest fan of Monique's work. I'm not. I like some of the roles she's played, right? But like watching her stand up or whatever, I can leave it, right? I don't even have to take it. I can leave it. I think that there's some people who kind of feel like Tiffany Haddish kind of teeters the line in terms of cooning a little bit, and some people are just like, she ain't that funny or whatever. So I don't necessarily think like she's like cooning or selling out. I just don't think she's funny. I just don't. So that's why I say I don't think she's that liked, but you make a good point. Aries definitely isn't that well liked at all. He's very polarized.
So I don't necessarily, I agree with you, but kind of going back to what Arika was saying about people build up this persona of people, of celebrities and things like that. And I think that does have a lot to do with it. You never victim blame or anything like that. But I don't know how the mom was involved. I know she was cool with Tiffany Haddish, but I don't care. I probably would want to be on set, you know what I'm saying, or something like that, especially dealing with comedians. And that's the one thing I just found it was kind of you would think they were up to something shady. I wonder what they told the mom they were going to record. That's what I'm wondering. Yeah,
and if this happened in two different incidents. Like, I don't think it was like all one day of taping. It was like, hey,
okay, I thought it was, because when I read, I thought they went together and they separated the kids immediately once they got to the place.
That's what I read too.
Okay, well, y'all probably right. Yeah.
So it's one of those deals where if you told the mom, if you weren't straightforward with the mom, then you knew you was dead wrong from Jump Street, and that's all. That's enough to be said right there. So
He's at that flavor to your function. D's daiquiri. Good people, good vibe, one drink at a time. Good people, good vibe, one drink at a time. Flavor to your function. D's daiquiri. Good people, good vibe, one drink at a time. Good people, good vibe, one drink. Wanna kick back, wanna just vibe, wanna kick back. Let me first slide to the drink store. Let me just buy drink mixes, all of them fire. Fill me up a case, I'm finna drop bread. Marvelous mango, classic and red. Took them to the party. These folks won't leave me alone. They wanted me to share. They better get their own. D's at and that.
I just don't
Right.
understand these people letting their kids just go with
That's what-
anybody.
That's why I said though,
So-
if you was cool with her and she didn't tell you, she wasn't straight up with you, she knew she was in the wrong.
Yeah. So growing up, growing up, I couldn't just go over to anybody's house.
Mm-mm.
I had one friend, shout out to Chris Henderson, when I was like a young kid, like 5, 6, 7, or 8. Like our parents met and they were like, okay, we trust how you parent and what you have going down in your house. Both of our parents were older parents, right? And there just wasn't a whole lot of foolishness going on. So like it was kind of like you can go over there or he can come over here. I couldn't go over a lot of family members' house. They can come over here. They can all come over here. We could have it, the whole neighborhood over here because we know how we get down in our house, but we just couldn't go anywhere. And the reason why, because a lot of people ain't right. And a lot of people, not if it ain't the adults, it's them older siblings, them older brothers and older sisters and stuff that's doing stuff to kids. And my parents had a pact. My mama told me this years later. She was like, if anybody had touched you, I was gonna kill him. I was gonna kill him.
Wow.
And then she said, because we figured it'd be easier for me as a woman to do the time and your dad can make money and support me. So if anybody had touched you or molested you, I was gonna take their ass out. And that was their plan. And so like to me, it was the same thing when I'm with my kids. We had like a certain group of people, like, okay, I know how y'all get down. I know the standards that y'all have in y'all's household. They can go over there, we could give each other breaks. I just don't understand how you just letting your kid go unsupervised with Tiffany or Aries or Robert Kelly or anybody. I just don't compute for me.
I think those people get enticed by like you said, like the persona and the money. And then they get so blinded by how cool it is to be associated with these people that they forget that they're supposed to be parents first, raising these young people and protecting them from any and everybody. But it's no excuse. It's definitely no excuse. But to then turn around and be like, now I want to make some money off of everybody involved's bad decisions, because every single person at that studio, the parents, the comedians, everybody is responsible for what happened to those children, because somebody there should have been like, hey man, no, you're not stripping these kids down to their underwear and doing a skit. That's crazy. I'm like, you're basically being a pedophile to make fun of being a pedophile, but that still harms the child. Like you're actually a pedophile. You're doing the things.
You're not doing it in a responsible way. Because like
Right.
Rika, you may not remember this, but Lav, you old enough to remember. You remember Different Strokes.
Mm-hmm.
You remember the episode? It was the 2-part episode where the dude was basically grooming Arnold and Dudley, and they never showed anything graphic, but basically showed them like giving them alcohol and stuff like that. And then like they showed like them, but like Arnold told the police came and they busted in, and like Dudley like had his shirt off, so you could kind of assume that it either happened or was about to happen, right? And it was done in a responsible way. It was kind of like, oh my God, this is about to happen. This is a bad thing. There's nothing funny about child molestation. There's nothing funny about pedophilia. And I like, how does your brain like? That's all that comedic license stuff. It don't make that. Nah, man. None of that's funny. I don't even get it. None of that was funny at all.
But they had to pitch that to somebody before they started production, before they started looking for actors, before they set up a stage and a room and everything to do this in. They had to pitch that idea to somebody, and somebody said, you know what, this will be hilarious.
Well,
so
what TV show was it for? Was it for?
It wasn't. It was. That's the thing. It wasn't. It was for. I think it's called Funny or Die or something, and they have a section called user created content. So my assumption is just literally anybody, or at that time, I don't know if they still have it or not, but literally anybody could just upload a video that they felt was funny that they created. They didn't necessarily have to go through a formal production team. It could be something that they just filmed at their house with their buddies. That was how I understood it to be.
Yeah,
The
you know,
user control
technology and Ricky,
content.
they can put something together, you know, without having like a studio or anything like that. Because
Yeah, but that makes it worse. If this was like at one of their house
That's what I was
and
assuming.
somebody
It was
with
at
a
somebody's
camera,
house.
it
I
was
was
just, yeah,
assuming
if
it
you
was,
watched it, I watched it. I skimmed through it. It was at somebody's home. It was
yeah.
at somebody's home where they did this for real. It's bad.
that's worse.
It's bad. It's bad. So you know that the young woman, Jane Doe, she now has custody of her younger brother. They're 22 and 15 now, and they're the ones who are suing. They're the ones. The mother is not involved.
Okay.
Yeah, so they're the ones that are pursuing Tiffany and Aries. I don't think anybody else is named in the lawsuit, but Tiffany and Aries are. So
I'd have named the mama too, but I guess the mama don't have no money. So
can you sue your
hey,
mom? Can you sue your mama for that?
negligent entrustment, I'd make up something. It's
That
got to
sound
be some negligent.
good. I'm about to write that down, Enrique. Is it too late for me? Nah.
Well, because so you can there's so many forms of negligence that you can allege, like just negligent supervision, negligent, just being negligent. Basically, you're just narrowing the scope down to what exactly you did wrong. But entrusting your children to just anybody, and especially if she knew in advance what the skit was going to be. Now, if she just said, if Tiffany just picked them up and took them for ice cream and they ended up in this house doing this skit, then
Hey, she need to be
she
thrown
needs to be
under the
arrested.
jail.
She needs
If
to be
she just
arrested if
said,
that
yeah,
happens. She needs to be
yeah,
you
arrested.
know, she need to be in somebody's hospital bed recovering from
man,
the fist of fury that were rained down from my family for you
man.
doing this craziness. But if she told the mom anything in the realm of we're shooting a pedophile skit and she was like, are we getting paid? Then everybody needs to be getting their ass whooped together.
Right. Well, so and that kind of I couldn't think of it. It kind of brought other movies or skits and stuff to mind, and you think about like maybe, I don't know, old school, like Lord of the Flies. You watch the movie and they weren't 7, 8 years old, but they were all young teenage, and it was some probably unseemly things. It's based on a book.
Mhm.
And I wonder how that was handled. It was a long time ago, which I wonder how that was handled. What did they have to sign off on things? That like maybe they had to do an NDA or something. I don't know.
I listened to the book on Audibles, but I never saw the movie, so I don't know what these unseemly things you speak of are.
I ain't seen it in so
They was
long.
mostly running
I
around
ain't seen
naked
it
though,
in so
right?
long. Yeah,
Yeah,
but
that's what I'm saying. They were running around, so it wasn't necessarily sexual
Unseemly.
acts or
It's
anything
just they
like
were
that.
all
But
naked in the
and
movie.
at that time, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I
Yeah,
just
because you
wonder.
could have
That's what I'm
had them
saying.
running around in their underwear and had the same impact.
Yeah. So
I get that the whole point of it is they return to their savage origins, which is easy for. Never mind. Let me not go there.
they savages. I got you. Yeah.
But I don't think that necessarily needed to indicate that I think
And
underwear,
that
they
was
could have been doing underwear, fig leaves.
right.
There are
That's
responsible
what I'm
ways
saying.
to do it.
Yeah. And that's the first thing that came to my mind. So I'm thinking there had to be, the first movie or film, but I said, surely there had to be other instances where there were kids who were playing quote unquote roles. And, is it possible for those lines to have been blurred? That I just thought about, I don't know,
Yeah. Mommy and daddy collecting them checks.
Yeah.
Well, I think there was was it like Jodie Foster or something? She back in the day, she like received an award for like playing like a child prostitute.
That was Brooke Shields, and I saw that movie.
Was it Brooke? No, you sure it was Brooke Shields? I thought it was like Jodie Foster.
I don't know. Brooke Shields was in she was in a movie too when she was younger. Yeah.
Yeah, and she was like 13 or something.
Yeah.
She was naked. And
Really?
I was like, this is not even like
Yeah,
necessary to move the story along.
Yeah, it was Jodie Foster. I'm not saying the movie with Brooke Shields didn't happen.
Yeah.
Jodie Foster, yeah, she played a
So
child.
how many teenage prostitutes?
13-year-old child prostitute. But again, I don't know what type of safety measure.
Right. Exactly.
They put into place or what have you. You know,
is there a safety measure for having a naked 13-year-old on the big screen?
I don't know if Jodie Foster was naked.
Brooke Shields was.
Okay, let's see. That's not necessary. I mean, and I don't even want to ask like what type of naked there was, but okay. Anyway, it just doesn't, like, again, the point I'm making is if you're showing the ills of what happens to young children and you know how they should be protected more, and if there's like behind the scenes supervision, maybe, right? That's a maybe.
It's
but
a dangerous area.
But
right.
It is. It's because you know why? Because we're sane individuals, and you know we don't want to see that type of material, right? We just don't.
She said she's kind of sane.
Sometimes, for the most part, for the most part, we are, right? Sometimes we all teeter, but yeah. But again, to make light of it, there's just no justification for that. Are costly cable bills giving you the blues? Well, Magic Streams is your answer. Watch all of your favorite teams live in HD. You will also get access to over 1,500 movies and be able to watch TV shows instantly. Magic Streams. Click the link in our bio to get more information. So, do you think
no redemption?
Do you think Tiffany and Aries? Do you think is it cancel time for them?
I mean, like you said, I'm not a fan of Tiffany anyway. I think she's horrible. Like, I don't think she's good in anything. And I don't know that I'm a fan of Aries in anything either. So I don't know that I could actively cancel them. So I'm real big on not canceling people that I don't support anyway, because it's pointless. But should the community do it? I don't know. I feel like people just lie anyway. There's people still bumping R. Kelly right now, all on the internet, hyping it up. But when they song come on, when the remix come on, they want to tune the beat too. So
I still listen to R. Kelly. I ain't gonna lie to you. I don't turn him off.
I'm not gonna turn it off. I'm not gonna turn it on. So I guess I'm in the middle ground.
Exactly. If it comes on, I mean,
If it come on, if it come on, I'm a jam to it too.
But nobody's playing it.
I'm not breaking out the WTF I used to have.
I'm gonna step in the name of love to that joint, but you know what I'm saying, you know.
We all were.
Yeah. So, but I know some people, if Robert come on, it's like, hey, turn it off. You know, the dance floor, we getting off the dance floor. Yeah, I remember I was at a party in St. Louis and they was playing Step in the Name of Love. I was out there getting it, and there was a bunch of women on the side. They was mugging me. I was like, the hell, what you looking at me for? You know, I don't take kindly to people. I almost use the MF word. I don't take kindly to people mugging me. What's y'all problem?
Right.
Are you dancing to R. Kelly? Oh, okay, my bad. I didn't know it was that offensive. But I don't know. I didn't really fool with either one of them either. So me personally canceling them probably doesn't make a difference. Do I think that maybe the overall community should be like, nah, we cool on these two? Possible, because I think you can bounce back from certain things, right? You can show contrition and say, hey, I made a mistake. I don't know if this is one that you can bounce back from. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe
especially not when you double down like Aries Spears and talk about this extortion and the shakedown. Oh, you want to double down? We need to double down.
Tiffany's contrite. She was like, hey, obviously it wasn't funny. I can't say more because of the lawsuit, but apparently she's taking it serious. But for Aries, but you know, folks wanted to come to Aries anyway, though.
Hey, last week he had a whole nother issue.
Yeah, because he was talking trash about Lizzo. And I was just like, bruh, how you talking bad about Lizzo, man? And first of all, you ain't cute. And second of all, you overweight too. You know,
man.
At least, you know, I'll be honest with you. A lot of people express how sick of Lizzo they are, right? but Lizzo's still an attractive woman. You know what I'm saying? She's pretty, she's smart, she's uber talented or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
I think some of the things she does is attention seeking, right? And then she's kind of nerve wracking when she does attention seeking things. And then you realize the internet is the internet, and people are going to say negative stuff about you. They say negative stuff. They're talking about the girl, this rapper girl named Glorilla, right?
Let's go.
F-R-E-E. Yeah, that's that girl right there. So they was talking about her, right? And they were like, girl, you ain't got no curves. They was talking about her shape, how she don't have curves, she don't have a butt, she don't have all this, that, and the other. And she was like, F y'all. I like me for what I am. I'm not finna go out here and get a BBL and look like all of y'all. So on one point, and sometimes they'd be like, hey, well, you got a BBL, you plastic. Then the other time they'd be like, oh, look at you. You don't even have no
exactly.
So that's the internet. You cannot win. And I think
man,
Lizzo sometimes, and we get it on a tangent, Lizzo sometimes like doesn't know that, you know, with some of the attention seeking she does.
She knows.
But one person who don't have the right, in my personal opinion, to be talking trash about a large Black woman is Aries Spears. Brother, you need to leave that one alone, my brother.
Well,
nobody, yeah.
Right. My frat pointed out something that I thought was interesting, though, which I always say when it comes to weight, because people think it's okay to, you know, defend talking about people who are overweight, but then it's funny when you talk about people who are perceived underweight or shapely or unshapely or whatever. And so, because people free range talk about me and my weight and how small I am and all these other things. And I just be like, now, if I turn it around, you're going to feel some type of way. But what my frat pointed out was, he was like, so according to the internet this week, it's not okay to talk about Lizzo, but it's okay to talk about T.I.'s son, who was somebody's child, his looks on the internet. Now, I don't remember what people were saying going in on the child, because I wouldn't pay attention to him and his little mug shot.
He looked an entire mess.
But at the same time, that's somebody's child. So you hop on the internet talking about my child and how he look, we're gonna have a problem.
So is Lizzo.
That's what I'm saying. So it should be across the board. We should just really stop commenting on. I mean, you could say people are acting a mess, because sometimes she be doing too much for me too. And you rich and getting arrested, you could talk about he's acting a mess, but talking about how he looked like his mama and all that other stuff.
See, I don't like how they talk about Tiny. I don't believe in saying the U word, ugly. I don't believe in calling people ugly, and people talk about her looks or whatever, because I'm like, everybody is a child of God, and I just don't believe in that. I might say somebody is funny looking, right? And that may not be, it's not as bad, you know, you funny looking, just because you funny looking to me, you might be, you know, beautiful to somebody else. Some people might think I'm funny looking. Most people don't. Most people know I'm handsome as you know what. But T.I.'s son, he did look a damn mess. So that comparison right there, that don't
right. Looking the mess. See, that's the thing. Looking the mess and being ugly like your mom is two different things, though.
Right, that is true. But see, that's the whole thing. Like you said, we're all children of God or what have you. But at the same token, somebody
what you a child of, Rika? Wicca? What you a child of?
Yeah, so I'm a child of God too.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, I didn't know. I didn't know.
But no, I'm saying, you know, my whole thing with this whole talking about Lizzo stuff is that nothing that he was even talking about made sense, because there's somebody out there for you don't have to think I'm attractive. You know what I'm saying? It don't matter what you think about it. Somebody out there, like you said, somebody is gonna find me attractive. Some people ain't gonna find me attractive. Men and women. You could see, you could look at you could go to the school, right? And you could look at a woman like, oh my goodness, she is dreadful. But guess what? She at the school picking up her 3 kids. So somebody was at least 3 times.
Who said dreadful?
Listen, let me tell you something. I know a lot of very accomplished, beautiful Black women, right, who are dying for companionship. And you know what they always say? They say, every time I watch a 600-pound life, the big old women on there. Every
They
single
all-
one of them got a man. Hey,
That's
Hey,
what I was getting at. My point.
every
Exactly.
single
Yeah.
one of them. They
Yeah.
bedridden, big as all get out. And
Time to start looking at personality.
every single one of them. Hey, I seen one girl, shoot, she couldn't even get out of bed. She had this little bitty skinny boy. The dude was frying chicken for her and everything.
Yep,
I was
washing
like,
her back.
yeah, I said, oh my gosh. But you know, my daddy taught me that a long time ago. I'll never forget. There's it was an Ebony magazine, and it was a story. I wish I could find this story because I know people think I'm messing it up. I'm making this up. But it was a story about this man who had no arms and no legs. He had no arms and no legs, and it was in Ebony magazine. So they had like the pictures and everything. He had like nubs, and he was a DJ. So he would pick up the albums with his nubs and stuff, and he would play. And he had a wife and kids. And I remember my dad called me and my older brothers. He said, "Hey, come here." He said, "Now listen, if this motherfucker can get a woman, y'all ain't got no excuse."
He's dead wrong for that.
He was wrong, but he was right.
Yeah.
Right.
Hey man.
He was
Yeah.
wrong, but he was right for sure.
But you know what though? I saw a TikTok the other day, and this white woman was talking about how, and that's relevant because I thought she made a good point for them, maybe not necessarily us, but she was talking about how the problem with why there's so many single white women, middle age or whatever, is that they think that the men that they can sleep with, the level of men they can sleep with, is the same level of men that will marry them. Like, so a man will mess with a 5, but he won't marry a 5. And so what they don't realize is that they're a 5. And so just because you slept with a 7, now you want to marry a 7, that's not your area. You got to come on back down to a 5 when you're looking for a husband.
I wholeheartedly disagree with her take. The reason there's a lot of single middle-aged white women is because they age poorly.
But so do they mates.
That's probably true. That's probably
So do their mates.
But here's another important fact when it comes to that. Black men will marry overweight black women, right?
Mm-hmm.
If we say, like, you know, being overweight is something that is unattractive, you know, the European standard of, okay, what's beautiful, being slender and slim is what's attractive, right? And being overweight, we call it thick, but really it's just overweight, obese. Black men will marry you see, hey, a big girl take your woman in a minute. Trust me. Big girl will take your man in a minute.
I was gonna say.
Yeah, I was gonna say, wow, that's a different show. That's a different show.
And trust me, a big dude like me would take your girl in a minute if I wanted it. So trust me, it go around. So listen, but the white boys, they don't play that stuff.
No, they play looks for status.
Listen, them tummy tucks and them crash dice and all that stuff. Why you think the white women be on that joint? Because the white boys, they don't play that mess. They like, no, you ain't finna be all overweight or, you know, looking sloppy or whatever. You better get that tummy tuck. You better keep it tight. Because that's they've been done. Hey, listen here, you go on, I'm gonna get me a little young hottie. That's exactly how they roll. You know why? They got money. They got money. They know that they got options. So
right,
for sure. But now I don't know. We getting back to the original point. Aries was going after Lizzo, and I'm just like, bruh. And so, you know, they was coming after him hard. They were showing pictures of him when he was a young man versus how he looks now. And they was talking about it's giving diabetes. He's got the he's got the hyperpigmentation. Look at his eyes.
Nah, he do, yeah.
He does not. He don't look well. Like he don't.
He doesn't look healthy.
He don't look healthy. He does not. Because I know some big people that still look
healthy.
Yeah. You know, he looks sick, even though he's not. They was like, look at his eyes. Look like he got poor kidney function. I was like, that.
They over here diagnosing.
They was going after that dude tough, man.
Listen, all I got is fugly. They done came out with symptoms and medical conditions.
But you know, once you start getting middle-aged, black women, they'll cut you deep. Like, hey, look, homeboy, like you a little bit diabetical because the one thing if you got that diabetes, then the next thing you got is that ED. You know what I'm saying? So they go after you for real. So,
I didn't
but
know that was
anyway,
a couple.
what's that?
I didn't know them things was a couple.
Oh yeah, for sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, diabetes, high blood pressure, all that stuff, because it's all blood flow. It's all blood
Mm.
flow. So when you got all that stuff and your blood's not flowing right, hey, yeah, that's one of the major side effects. That's why it pays to try to be
That's like a
healthy.
deal breaker.
Aries need to start taking a blood pressure sleeve with you when you go on when women go on dates. You need to start taking a blood
How about
pressure
some?
sleeve with them.
Let me get your pulse, please.
Or stop by the Quick Trip and buy that Black Rhino XL. You know what I'm saying? Like, why my head hurt? Yeah.
Why you know your head go hurt?
What'd you say? Say it again.
Why you know your head go hurt when you take it?
I know plenty of dudes that take that stuff.
That is crazy. So you know people that went into the gas station and was like, let me take these drugs.
When you go into the Quick Trip, you see the 5-hour energy drinks, you see the Black Rhino XL. All of that stuff, when we talk about the ED, the ED pills or whatever, it's all blood flow. So the blood has to come from somewhere, and it comes from your head. So that's why if you talk to guys who take those pills, they'll say one of the side effects is they'll have a banging headache. Thank God I still ride. I'm a big brother. I'm not diabetical. Ride my bike, and that's part of. And I ain't gonna lie, that's part of the motivation. Because I want to keep my blood flowing right. You know what I mean? And they'll tell you, take that pill. Why do you think the cats be croaking out? They take that stuff and their blood flow all goes to that region, and they stroke out, have a heart attack. Yeah, for real.
Mm-hmm.
That's why when they say that's why they say check with your doctor to see if you're healthy enough to have sex. That's real.
Doc, can I get in this or no?
that is absolutely real for sure. But anyway, we didn't got on the tangent. I think we talked about it enough. Hopefully things go well and justice is served whatever way it's supposed to go with these young people and with Tiffany and Aries, Tiffany Haddish and Aries Spears. It's a disturbing story. I hope that it gets the attention that it deserves. And I don't know how the lawyers for Tiffany and Aries are going to try to spin this, but it just does not look good. And we'll definitely keep an eye on it and see how things play out. But anyway, I think we talked about it enough. Make sure you check out the show on YouTube. Leave us a comment, give us a thumbs up. Shout out to all of our listeners and faithful listeners who leave comments and give us thumbs up and share the show. We really, really, really appreciate y'all. Holidays are coming up soon. Make sure you get some merchandise, buy some gear. It goes to supporting the show. And that's it. We'll holler at you next time. Peace.
I see.
Shout out to C.
Well, definitely took her on a girls' trip.
Listen.